about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all.
Hey y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. Have you ever had a dream and you just felt as though that was not a dream at all? It could be a premonition, and or maybe you were lucid dreaming. So lucid dreaming is like a whole thing, but then premonition is like a lot of people are able to see things that are going to happen before they happen in their dreams. So now this video is back by popular demand because we had made another video before that a long time ago when I first started my YouTube channel last year. You guys loved the video and people have been requesting for more of these type of videos. So here we are with a full video of very interesting stories of people telling us their dreams that I don't believe are dreams at all. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show Sandman, and it's basically about dreams. So I will tell you a little bit more about it and also my dream that I don't think was a dream at all towards the end of the video. Let me know what you think about this video because they are so good. Love you guys so much. I'll see you at the end of the video.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all.
I still get chills every time I think about this story, but here it goes. So one day, I went to my grandpa's house, and he didn't have a room for me, but he had a couch that I would sleep on, and this was like once or twice a week type of thing that I would do this. And one night, it was a Wednesday night, I went to sleep on his couch, and I woke up in the middle of the night and had to use the bathroom. But when I went to move and get up, I couldn't. I was stuck, like totally stuck, sleep paralysis, like my arms would not move, my mouth wouldn't move, my eyes couldn't move, like nothing was moving. I was stuck and I was like trying to move. I started freaking out. My heart started beating out of my chest and I was like, get up in my head. I'm like, come on, get up, move, what's wrong with you? And I'm there like freaking out, having an anxiety attack because I cannot move a muscle. I've never had this happen to me. And I started yelling in my head like super, super loud. And I'm like, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. And finally, I roll over and I land on the ground and like on my hands and knees. And I'm like, yo, that was so weird. Like, what's going on? Why couldn't I move? Like, freaking out, but whatever. So I like stand up. I grab my phone, turn the flashlight on, and I go to the bathroom. And the way that my grandpa's house is set up, it's like living room's here and there's a wall and then you have to walk around the wall to get to the bathroom. So I do that and I get to the bathroom and I go to put my phone down on the sink and like I missed the sink like 3 times. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? So like I like put the tip of the phone on the edge of the sink and like pushed it on there. And I'm like, all right, that's also weird, whatever. I go to pee, I wash my hands, I grab my phone, and now I walk back to the couch where I was sleeping. And when I turn the corner, my flashlight's on. I put the flashlight up and I see myself on the couch, still asleep. But I'm holding my phone, looking at myself. And now I'm like every single hair on my body stands up and I'm freaking out. And I'm like, yo, what the? And I pinch myself as hard as I can to like see if I'm awake. And it hurt, and I still see my body there, just laying there. And I didn't know what was going on. And so, but like something inside of me told me to like walk towards my body. So like I walked towards my body, and now I'm standing right over myself, like with the flashlight on, like putting the flashlight to my head, to my feet, and like I see myself. And now my heart is just again. And like I don't know what's going on, and then like something told me to just like reach out and like touch my body. And so like I reached out and like a super slow motion, and as soon as I touch my chest, I wake up like and it's like I came back into my body. I didn't sleep for 3 days after that. The craziest dream, not dream, I don't know what to call it, but that changed my life. I went crazy into astral projecting and the spirit like realm, all that crazy insidious stuff, super scary stuff. But yeah, I'm glad that's never happened again.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all. I'll go.
Okay, first, sorry, I'm not good at storytelling, but this dream happened when I was like 16, 17 years old. I've been having a lot of lucid dreams when I was young, but this one was the weirdest. in this dream, I end up seeing two little, I perceived as girls, in the center of a pitch black room with like a spotlight only on them. Their backs was facing to me, crying, saying, "Mommy, mommy, I need help." But when I got closer to ask what kind of help that they would like, because something in me told me that they were mine. I don't understand, but it's something in me told me that they were my children, even though I haven't seen their faces. I have no recollection, and at that time I had no kids. But by the time I got to the two, they both turned around and they had blank faces, like no facial features, no nothing, like it, not even an outline of like eyes, lips, nose, just a blank, like a blank canvas. And one of them giggled, saying, "Soon, mommy, you will help us." And then they disappeared. Now, some years have passed. I have children, and me and one of my friends thinks that the twins that I've seen, because they were twins, or we assume that they were twins. I ended up recently having twins and one passed, so we think that was them, but we're not 100% sure because one of them was a boy. If anybody can actually decode it, sweet. But yeah, it was a slightly weird dream because it didn't feel like a dream. And I feel like it's still coming, but not coming. If that makes sense. But yeah, that's my little weird dream. What do y'all guys think?
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all.
Honestly, this was the most fucked up dream I've ever had, and I have like full-blown zombie apocalypse, disgusting gory nightmares every single fucking night, and this was hands down the worst dream I've ever had. I'm at home with my kid, and he's like 3 or 4 years old, and we live alone, and we're just at home, and we go to bed one night, and we get up the next morning, and I can't find him anywhere. I literally cannot find him for the fucking life of me, and I am freaking out, and I ring the police, and I'm like, I can't find my kid. And what ensues is a full week of going around all of the wooded areas and the parks near me, media frenzy, social media posting, putting up flyers, knocking on doors, begging people to like give me information if they have any. No one's seen anything of him, like the police don't find anything. And I shut his bedroom door after that first day. I cannot look at it, I just can't. And I painfully remember looking for him, and I remember how fucking awful it was. But eventually I'm in bed one night and he knocks on my bedroom door, and he has a particular knock. It's very soft, very gentle at the time, and I know it's him. I just know it's him, and I jump out of bed and I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck has happened? Like, where have you been? What is going on? And I'm trying to like hug him and like, you know, but he steps back and he won't let me touch him. And he just gives me this really like sad, I'm so sorry I have to do this to you smile, nods towards his bedroom door and takes off. And before I even get a chance to like look after him, he disappears. But I know he wants me to go in that room. So I go to the door and I open it, and as soon as I open it, I can smell him. And he's not alive, and I can tell. And I move his bedroom curtains, and behind the curtains there's the blind, the roller cord, and he's just back there behind the curtain. And I looked for too long, quite frankly, and that image is burnt onto my brain, and I'm shaking and I could cry just thinking about it, and it weren't even real. But anyway, I ring the police and I'm like, I found him. He was in his bedroom this whole time. This is what's happened. And before the police can get there in the same room, I myself too, and then I wake up. And it's 4 o'clock Christmas morning. And I just go and get in bed next to my kid and I just stare at him. And he's 9. In reality, at this point, he's 9 years old. And in my dream, he was only like 3 or 4. So it was really strange to like go from that to that. But I was just lay there just staring at him. Just absolutely like trying to soak everything in. Just waiting for him to go up.
About the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all.
When my daughter was born, I started having dreams and feeling the presence of a little girl. And this was a little girl that I had never seen before. The first time that I saw her in a dream that I had was when, in this dream, it felt like a past life dream. That's really all I can say. It was just not a situation that I ever found myself in. She was a toddler and I was her mother. And we were in the middle of some sort of a war. And the group of people that I was with was strategizing. And I was one of the people that was helping strategize for the next battle or the next, clash that we would have. And I didn't even know why we were, there was no context. And I remember looking at the table at like a drawing of the strategy that we were implementing. And I was nursing her. Like, she was a toddler, but I was still nursing her. And as the conversation ensued around that table, I realized that we weren't going to make it. I realized that this was our last stand, and that's what we were planning. And I decided in that dream then that I wanted her to survive. So I prepared this space that was like almost like underneath the foundation of the building we were in, with bedding, toys, food, water, everything. And I remember every detail of everything I left behind. And the last thing I did was leave her in that room and close the door. And like, I can still hear that child screaming, like calling for me. And I ran out, and I knew that that was the last time that I would see her, and that was the last time she would see me. But the hope that I had was that she would live. And I woke up like right after that, and I was sobbing. I don't know if you've ever had dreams where it's so real and so painful that pain like stays with you. I still feel teary-eyed when I think about that dream. I don't know where it came from, but ever since then, I have noticed her around me. Like, this is a little girl that over the last 6 years hasn't even been visiting with me and my family, has truly been present with us. But in this last year, I've had very specific dreams about her where she is asking me to help her cross over. And to the point where it's like so detailed about how she wants me to do it, that she's ready, that she is willing to travel. Like, she's telling me she's ready to go. And strangely enough, I've like not wanted to let her go because I feel an attachment to her. I did end up letting her go, and I want to be more specific and make another video about how that happened and what led to that. But I feel some sort of connection with her. She feels some sort of connection with me. She's now moved on, I think. I'm pretty sure that she has, because I haven't seen her or heard her or felt her since then, and that happened really recently. Yeah, I don't know. Dreams are weird. Dreams are really weird. And for me, at least, I know that dream time is the dream that I'm the most open, if you want to say, in my third eye. It's when I hear the truth. It's when sometimes I receive messages about people that need help, or sometimes when people in the spirit world come in and try to say something. And I've been really trying to be more cognizant as I fall asleep to pay attention to that. So, yeah.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all.
So like a few years ago, I was living with my grandma, and then in the dream, my uncle came running into the apartment and he was like, oh my god, so-and-so's coming for me, he's coming for me, he's gonna take me. And he like ran out the back door to like run away from this guy. And then this guy comes in and my grandma's like, oh my god, like, hey, and this and that. And she's like, what do you want? He goes, oh, I'm here to take so-and-so with me. Now, I'd never seen this guy before, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on? Because my uncle was freaked out and my grandma looked uncomfortable, and I was like, who are you? You know, and he's like, oh, my name is so-and-so, and I'm coming to take your uncle because he was going to drag him to hell. And I was like, okay. So then I woke up from the dream, and I was like, this is it was like very vivid, very lucid, and I thought it was really weird. So I asked my grandma, I was like, grandma, by any chance, is there anyone in our family by this name? And she just was kind of like, oh my god. She's like, I haven't heard that name in years. And she's like, where did you get that? And I was like, what? And then I told her the dream. And I was like, well, I had this dream. And she goes, yeah, no, that man's been dead for years. And I was like, oh my god. And then from what I heard, because then I asked my mom, I was like, I told grandma this. And she was kind of freaked out. And she's like, that man was an evil man. She goes, that man was an evil man. And I was like, well, then I told her the dream. Like, he was coming to take our, you know, like your brother, my uncle, to hell, you know? And the crazy thing was that, from at least from what my mom told me, was that he was the reason why my uncle like became a drug addict. So it's just kind of like, what was it, a dream, or was this more? Well, it had to be more, because how did I get that name if I've never heard that name before, if this man's been dead before I was even born? And I haven't found any like family photos or anything to say, oh my god, this is the guy in my dreams. But that'd be kind of creepy if I gotta check. No.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all.
In my dream, I think I was in a car. I'm not entirely sure. I might have been driving, and I think we were going through a tunnel. And I think actually it was just me, but I was going through a tunnel and I was running away from something. And then that something caught up to my window and it looked like this burned, what used to be a person, but just completely burned. And when it caught up to me and I looked at it, it looked at me and it said, but in Spanish, and I'll translate it after, but it said, no nos querías oír, puta. And then it said, pues ahora nos puedes oír. And then it had this evil, evil laugh. And then in English, that was like something like, oh, didn't you want to hear us, bitch? And then it was like, now you can hear us. And it laughed this super evil laugh. And I don't even remember how the dream ended. I think I woke up in that moment and I was just yelling like, no, you're not allowed here. You're not allowed here. You're not welcome. And then I ran to the living room to watch something funny. I think it was The Office. I don't know, some comfort show. And at the time, and I don't know if this is the reason for my dream, but I had just started my podcast. It was like episode, I don't know, 9. Like it was very early. And we were researching something that is like a shape-shifting creature, but in Mexico. And it appears to be very evil, scary. And I don't know if that's why I had this dream. But the reason it was so scary to me is because my mom always told us the story of her hunting. It was the scariest thing to me ever. And it still is. But she was haunted by this thing that appeared to be a burned person. And it would cry to her every night, like, ayúdame, help me. It was just, it's so scary. And it lasted like a year. And when I saw that burn thing in my dream, I thought, oh my God, what if it's the burn thing in her dream? And that really scared me. And yeah, that was my scary dream. And it's weird because I never remember any of my dreams. But also while I'm here, if you, like me, don't know what's happening to this app, but you still want to find me somewhere else, I am on Instagram and Blue Sky and like all the places under @SpookyTales. You can also just search SpookyTales like on Google and my website's gonna pop up. I have a podcast where I share scary stories, true crime, haunted places with my twin. We're also on YouTube. I'm not sure if I'm going to be going to Redno. I know everyone's going there, but like I don't know if I want to add yet another app into my things that I have to keep up with because it's a lot. But that is where you can find me. I also share history sometimes on here, and so that is under Historias Unknown, also on Instagram and all podcast apps. All right, stay spooky.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all. I'll go.
So, growing up, me and my
dad was always really close. We would just sit on the front porch and just have like this long, just good conversations. So when he started to get sick outside of town, my mother would call me and tell me, you know, your dad's in the hospital, you need to come see him. And I would. So this one particular day, I was asleep, and I dreamed that I was at home, and I'm sitting on the front porch. He pulls up in front of the house, and he's walking up. So in my dream, I knew he had been sick. He was a flashy dress. He always liked hats, and he was suspicious. Really cool, laid back, just love the dress. Always looking at him. So he's walking up the front porch. He had a straw hat. He had on a Hawaiian shirt. He had on some suspenders and some slacks. That was like a uniform for him. Straw hat, Hawaiian shirt, suspenders, and slacks. So he's just walking, he's just going. He's just looking so good. So I said, Daddy, you look good. I was like, you feeling better? You feeling better? He said, yeah, I'm feeling so much better. I'm feeling much better now. So he walks into me, and I was like, sit down. I was patting him. I was like, sit down, talk to me. He was like, wait a minute, I want to see your mom. And I was like, talk to me now, sit down and talk. He was like, I'll be right back. He was like, stay right here. I'll be right back. He was like, I want to see your mom. And I come back out here and talk to him. I was like, all right. So in my dream, I'm still sitting there. I'm sitting on the porch waiting on him, but he never came back. It's like a long time he never came back. So I go in the house. I'm looking, walking in front door, so looking at it's a little hallway, it's the kitchen. You turn right down the hallway, my mother's room, the bathroom, and my room. So I'm walking through each room, I'm looking for him. I go to the bathroom, looking for him, I'm looking in my room, I never see him. So I go into my mother's room. My mother was in there asleep. She had her back turned to me. So when I walked in the room, she heard me, she sat up, and I was like, where's Dad? She was like, what are you talking about? I was like, Daddy came, he said he wanted to see me. She was like, I haven't seen your dad. So I'm standing there looking at her, and I'm like, so I go around to the other side of the bed, I'm putting the sheets back, and my dad was laying in the bed, he was naked, and his hands folded across his chest. And I woke up in a panic, just scared to death. And I remember my roommate was in the kitchen. She was like, what is wrong with us? It's water. It's water. She's scared of water. And I called my mother and I told her about the dream. She was like, she was like, so about 2 or 3 weeks later, my dad passed. And I was like, Mom, remember the dream? She said, yeah, I remember it. She said, that dream wasn't for me. She said, in the dream, you said he was trying to, he wanted to talk to me. She was like, no, he didn't want to talk to me because I never seen him. She said, that dream was for me. He was telling me that he was getting ready to pass. He came to say,
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all. I'll go.
So when Charlotte was probably like 3 or 4 months old, there was a period of time where the only way she would sleep was in this recliner chair here. So, are you talking to the kitty? Sorry, mom things. So for like a month, this was the only way Charlotte would sleep. She would wake up at like 1:30 in the morning. The only way she would go back to sleep is in my arms. So I would sleep with her in our recliner here. Well, one night, I kept having this dream of somebody bursting in her room, looking at me, and running towards me. And it would startle me awake. So the first time it happened, I looked over, and the blanket was over Charlotte's face. So that was the first time it happened. Then I bolted awake again, about 2 or 3 more times after that. And finally, like, I moved her over to this side, which she's sitting on right now, and the dream stopped. So I 1000% believe that dream was like, hey, like, this isn't safe. Like, you need to move her to how you guys normally sleep. Because normally, the way we'd sleep in the recliner is I would pull it back, and she would sleep on this side and me right here. But this night, she was sleeping on this side of me. Oh, you say bye? Say bye-bye. But yeah, I'm fully convinced that dream was sent to keep her awake. Or, like, it was sent to wake me up so that she was still here to terrorize me. as a little baby toddler.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all. I'll go.
Okay. If you're from my other account, you have heard in detail my exorcism at 3 years old. Okay? That's for another time. Anyway, I have 2 stepdads. Good one, bad one. Good one died when I was 3 years old. His son was 5 days old. He died in a car accident after some weird shit happened. That's around the time that the exorcism was performed on me. So from that time, I had this very specific dream of him pushing me on a swing. And, well, my mom told me it was a dream. But I always told her that I remember him pushing me on a swing, and then I remember my mama sticking her head out the back door and saying, "Jojo, time to come in," and then I walked inside, and Dad wasn't there with me. I never really thought anything of it. I just thought maybe I just stopped remembering the memory at that moment. So when I was a little older, I was telling my mom this again, expecting her to tell me that it was a dream. Again, like she always did. Anywho, at that moment, she's like, "Tell me a little bit more about this." And I told her a little bit more specifics, and she goes, "That's impossible." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "He was dead at that moment. Your mama and papa were there for his funeral." And I was like, "Okay, maybe it was a different one." She said, "No, impossible, because they weren't there at that place that you're specifically saying at the same time, except for that time after he was dead." And I was like, "Okay, but I'm telling you, Mom, I remember him pushing me on the swing. We were playing with the little dandelions. Like, this was a real memory." And she's like, she always told me it was a dream. But, yeah, then later on, when I was able to comprehend and tell her a little bit more, she told me that it was impossible because he was already dead. So, yeah.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all.
Okay, so when we were growing up now, my mother and my grandmother, whom is my father's mother, never got along. Like, not for a day, not for nothing, not for shit. They never got along. So much so that every single time my grandmother lived in another province from us. So whenever she'd come to our province, because business was here, she'd always have to sleep over at our house. And every single time she would come to our house, there would be a reason for my dad to put them in a room, and then they'd end up hollering, arguing, and it just never ended well. They argued all the time. It seemed like our little norm. You know, every time my grandmother comes through that room, that particular room, they would go in there and they would fight, and some of the stuff still stuck in our heads. We know them. We remember them. We used to laugh a lot about them as sisters. But anyways, all right, fine. So that's the ground of my dream. My mother and my grandmother never got along, not for shit. One day, but yeah, and obviously with them sorry, my phone is ringing. So with them never getting along like that, my dad would always say, "Oh, these are adults, they'll sort themselves out. You guys are kids, you guys are gonna mize, you know, you're forever going to be mising this thing because, yeah, one day they'll be fine. So you don't take sides, sharp." So when it was possible, we would visit my grandmother's house. And so on. So one time we're visiting my grandmother, because I'd always force her whole thing. I'd always be like, "I want to go to Joburg, I want to go to Joburg. I want to go to Joburg." Fine. One December, we're visiting my grandma. And as we visiting my grandma like that, my grandmother was a hawker, like not like Amo. She would come this side to do business, because there was more business this side, apparently, because that side was too saturated and whatnot. So she was a hawker. She sold everywhere. Like, she'd been everywhere selling and stuff. Sharp. And she also sewed. Sharp. So one December when we are there, we helping her clean out stuff and all of that, and then we're enjoying ourselves and all of that. And then I come across this pink cloth. It was a very pretty, like, chiffon pink cloth. So I was absolutely in love with it. It's pink and it's you know, you're a kid and whatnot. And I say to her, Grandma, what you want to do with this? And she says, why? I'm like, yo, this is a very beautiful. Like, I want to know what it's going to turn to. She's like, no, I haven't thought much about it. You can have it if you want. You know what? Take it. Give it to your mom. And I don't know, in my heart then, I thought, oh my gosh, peace, peace, peace. I'm probably like the bridge between them. She just literally, just out of the blue, decided, well, give it to your mom. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet, you know? Fine holidays that feel like come home and first thing, mama, 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 so excited. Mama, so Goku said I must give you this. My mother gives me a look. Yeah? Why? I'm like, what do you mean, why? Look how pretty this cloth is. And my mother was like, she specifically said, you must give me that. And I told her the whole story up until the point where I said, yes. And so she said, give it to your mom. And my mother was like, no, I give back. I don't want it. It's fine. You can keep it for yourself or whatnot, but I don't want it. I'm sorry. I don't want that. I'm like, I was like, I don't want it. I don't even want it in my room. I don't want it anywhere near anything of mine. Please. You keep it. I don't want it. Sharp, it was a very pretty cloth. It was a chiffon series pink cloth. So I kept it, right? Years went by, and then eventually I finished my trick. And I remember I was packing for college and all of that, going to go to Joburg now, to go live in Joburg. And then, fine, while I'm packing, hey, chiffon. I packed the chiffon, folded it up, and I packed it and I took it with, because for me, it felt sentimental, you know, it felt good. You know, like my grandmother gave us this. And then mind you, this is like, 3 years later or something like that, because my grandmother died in my matric year. She died in my matric year, but when she gave me this cloth, I was probably like, in grade 9 or 8, sharp. So fine, I go to college. As I'm at college, now I'm not a sharing person. I'm an introvert. I love my space and whatnot. So I had my own room. Me have my own room and whatnot. Okay, and going about my business. Time is going, is moving and whatnot. And in. We got there, I think, in February. June. I start having nightmares now. Why am I having nightmares? You know what, I'm thinking, no, you know what, I'm just missing home, my first winter away from home. Like, I had always been scared in Navelle, because every weekend my dad would come pick me up, come home and all of that and shop. I'm out of that winter, I'm having nightmares. More like, what can I do? So, okay, one weekend I come home and my mother says, no man, remember that Indian lady that you always go to with Dad whenever you go by Cricket's Goddess and why don't you go see her? Maybe she can give you something to, like, clean the aura of the room, something like that. Maybe only now the bad spirits are coming out and whatnot. And I thought, kind of cool. We go to the Indian lady, go Indian center. She gives me, like, a couple of incenses and all of that. And she says, well, this one, this particular incense, light it up. It's for the bad dreams to go away and for the good dreams to stay. And it is also to make sure that you achieve, you know, like the dreams, your conscious dreams that this I want to pass on when those are going to come true. Sharp, take the incenses. I start using the incenses a lot because even from home, my mom would always say, light an incense. That smell would just, you know, always give you a good aura and all of that. Sharp. Things start going okay. Yeah, the bad dreams go away. One particular night, I'm sleeping. Well, I think I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping well. It's night time. Hey. All right. In this dream, where I am sleeping now, I am tossing and I'm turning and I'm tossing and I'm turning, but it's in the dream. I think it's in the dream. And mind you, I forgot to tell you the part where I had actually taken out cloth, my grandmother, and I had put it under my pillow. I wrapped it. At first, I would wrap it around my pillow, and then I started just putting it under my pillow, because you know, as you speak with people and whatnot, hey, it's this and that is happening. Then they'll be telling you, hey, man, you must have a white cloth and this and that. So because I didn't have a white cloth and whatnot, I associated the connotation of cloth, this cloth in shop. I took my grandmother's cloth, I put it under my pillow. Shop. That particular night where I'm telling you, I think I was dreaming. I don't know whether I was dreaming or not, but twists and turning. Out of the blue, within this dream, I wake up. I wake up and I look at my door. And my door is open. Mind you, we get it home, I guess like it's res, like it's at res. Anyway, everybody has their different rooms and whatnot, so everybody's sleeping, but here's my door open, and I know within the dream or whatever it is that was happening, I know if I go there and I open the door, there's just going to be the hallway, that scary hallway. I can't get past the AG, and everybody else is going to be sleeping and whatnot. But anyway, within the whatever it is that I'm having, I get up, I'm like, but my door can't be open, I can't leave my door open, huh? And with the opening area of the door, there's a bit of light kind of coming in, but I can see all this darkness there. The weirdness, sharp. I go there, I open my door. First thing I do after opening my door, I looked over to my right because my friend, Ayanda, used to stay down there with that room. So I'm looking there and I'm thinking, shit, will Ayanda be able to hear me if I scream? Because I don't know what the hell is going on, why my door's open. Anyway, like I'm sizing the distance between me and Ayanda's room. As I turn to my left, the cloth, it's moving like a snake, like this, and it turns like this. It looks at me. Now we're looking at each other. I'm looking at it. And I'm getting this vibe, né? I don't know whether it's a vibe or it was a communication from the cloth. And it's saying, come, follow me. I look at the cloth. I look at Ayanda's room. I look at the cloth. And it just turned around and it carried on walking. The rest of it coming down, coming out like this and following it. I look at Ayanda's room and I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? And like that other lady says, not whenever I'm scared or anything like that, or in a dream, I always I sing. Like I'll sing something, just, out of the blue I wake up. Because I refused to go with that cloth. I refused. In the dream or whatever it was, I refused. I said, no, I can't go with you. And it turned around and it started walking like a snake like that. And I got back to my room, I think, and I closed it. I woke up sweating like a pig. There and there, I called my mother. Didn't pick up. When she managed to pick up in the morning, I told her the whole story. Hey, this is long, actually. Told her the whole story about the cloth and whatnot. And my mother's like, you see why I didn't want it in my room.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all. I'll go.
Okay, so this is actually 2 dreams that I had, and they were like clearly connected. So I had these 2 dreams, I want to say the day or maybe 2 days after I had a dream that I met a deity, and I feel like that was clearly connected. So off rip, I already feel like it's not a dream because of that. But I'm sitting in a theater and all the lights are on and there's people chatting and I'm alone. And then these 3 black guys walk in and they have piercing blue eyes. Like it's unnaturally blue. Like even if you were black with blue eyes, your eyes would not look that blue. And they were like watching me, and they were just staring at me like that as they like walked by, and they came and sat beside me. But I was kind of turned like this, so they were kind of behind me. And I'm sitting there, and I don't know if this is just me, but like anything behind me in my dream doesn't exist. Okay, I don't know it's there. I've never had anyone come up behind me in my dream or anything. And so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear them like say something, and it makes me jump in the dream, like, and I don't even turn back. And they were like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And they were like, no, it's fine. You didn't know we were behind you. And I was like, yeah. And I looked over, and then I looked over at them, and then I looked back, and there's another black guy sitting in front of me, like, he's like fully turned around, like staring at me. And I'm like, this is weird. And I wake up. The next night, I have a dream that I'm getting ready to go somewhere. I come downstairs to the dining room where I'm sitting right now, actually. And there's some guy that's like my dad's friend in the dream, and him and his girlfriend are getting ready to go somewhere. And I'm getting ready to go somewhere, and I go stand by the window, and I look out the window, and out of the corner of my eye, like probably 3 feet from where I'm sitting right now, I see this Asian guy sitting in the chair that I'm sitting in right now, staring at me out of the corner of my eye with piercing blue eyes. And so I slowly turn around, like, and then when I turn around, he turns away. And so I'm like, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe he's not staring at me. So I look back out the window. And then I see out of the corner of my eye, him like turn back to look at me. And so I turn back to look at him. He looks away, like he didn't want me to see that I was looking at him. So I'm like, I know I'm crazy. I look out the window again. He looks at me again. So I'm like, maybe he wants me to like he's trying to send me a message. So I came and sat in front of him with my back turned to him. Again, my back is turned to these people. And I took out my phone, and my phone has like Egyptian hieroglyphics, and it's all Egyptian themed. And I was like, what does this mean? I still don't know. This was like a year ago, and I still have no clue. That clearly was not a dream.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all.
It's funny you bring this up because I was actually just thinking about this the other day. So, my grandfather on my dad's side passed a couple years ago, and I happened to be there on his final day. Didn't quite realize what I was hearing was him passing, but it is what it is. Fast forward to a couple weeks to about a month later, and I'm having this dream where I'm at an airport, and it looks a lot like Los Angeles International Airport. It's very distinctive. It's kind of old, a little bit run down. You'll know it when you see it. And I'm over by this very specific store, and I'm seeing people walk around me, and everybody looks really happy, which, if you've ever been to a big airport, that's not the case. But yeah, everybody looks really happy, and everyone's going to their gates and whatnot. And in the crowd, I spot my grandfather. My grandfather was a commercial airline pilot for many years. He actually flew for America West before it went defunct. He retired from America West. And he was dressed up as a pilot, had his pole, like wheelie carry-on luggage, had his hat on, white shirt, and he looked blissful. He looked so happy. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You're the only face I recognize. So I made a beeline for him, and I'm like, hey, Grandpa Jay. And I tapped him, and he turned around, and he got this look on his face of confusion. He's like, Kristen, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. It's not, no, you need to go back. And I looked at him like, but I found you. I just want to say hi. It's like, okay, I understand, but you need to go. Well, all right. So I turn, and as I'm turning, I see his longtime girlfriend also in the crowd, and she looked probably about the same as I did, kind of surprised. I have not had a chance to talk to her since the funeral or the memorial, so I don't know if she's actually remembers anything like that. But yeah, I really don't think that was a dream. It doesn't feel like a dream. The interaction was not right. I think I caught his final moments on this plane. And, no pun intended, plane. I think I caught him right before he crossed. Like, officially gone, crossed over. Yeah.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all.
Alright, I had to do this because, hence my name. I am all about vivid dreams. Okay. I get endless amount of them. But the one that tripped me out the most would have to be about 4 years ago. I was asleep, and this was before my son. This is before my husband and I got married. It was like several months before our wedding. But was laying down in bed, and like normal, it was probably, I'd say 8 or 9 in the morning. And I'm having this dream like I'm waking up, and it continues to repeat itself. Like I'm constantly waking up inside of a dream, waking up inside of a dream. Then I'm waking up inside of a dream. Then I wake up inside of a dream. Then I wake up inside of another dream. And this goes on forever. And it feels like forever, at least. And it's probably like a solid minute that this happens. And eventually I start panicking because I want to wake up, but my body is not responding. And I know I have a storm. There's a storm going on, so a little ambience for you. But anyways, I was trying to wake up, and it was just not happening. And I was sobbing in my dream. I was screaming, and I can feel, and I know exactly what she's talking about. Like, you feel like 1,000,000 pounds with sleep paralysis. It just feels so heavy. But in my dream, I am sobbing and crying and trying to like rip myself, like just jolt, like just do something to make my brain function. And so nothing was working, and I can feel tears running down my face because I am in absolute crisis. Like, I cannot wake up. Like, I am stuck sleeping or stuck in this loop, this endless loop of waking up inside of a dream that's not actually waking up. And then finally, at the same time my alarm goes off, my husband comes up to me and puts his hand on my shoulder. And I rip myself finally out of my sleep. But once again, I was screaming and sobbing in my dream that by the time I was woken up for real, the first thing I could do was sob, scream, and cry. So my husband's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to wake you up. I didn't mean to. It just looked like you were having a bad dream. And I'm like, no, I needed you to wake me up. I needed you to wake me up. I could not wake up. I was stuck in that dream. I could not get out. I was stuck. I was so stuck. I could not get out. Nothing was able to get me out. I heard the alarm, but I couldn't get out. It wasn't until you touched me that I was able to get out. And I'm shaking. I'm crying. And he has to like hold me for like 5-15 minutes because reality was so distorted. And I had to go to work after that. So when she says, like, you start questioning reality after that, it's true. Like, you start questioning it. Like, how powerful does a dream have to be for us to realize that there is a lot more to it than just subconscious thoughts? It's a lot more than just subconscious thoughts, because there is no reason why nobody should not be able to wake up from a dream. There should be no reason why anyone should suffer with sleep paralysis. Something beyond the mind is happening, and we're just not in tune with it. And ever since that, I believe I've only had one other episode of sleep paralysis, and then it kind of ended. I honestly don't think it's like high stress induced or anything like that, because I wasn't in any stressful situation. The wedding wasn't even that stressful. I had a role in the wedding, but it was pretty much hands-free. I already did all my decorating and stuff, so there really wasn't a whole lot of stress, and I was getting plenty of sleep, obviously. So yeah, shit, fucking dreams, man, they're wicked. What's yours?
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all. I'll go.
I started out on a street somewhere, don't really remember, and someone came up to me and threatened me, so I jumped up, flew up high into the sky, saw something above me, flew up closer to it, and it was a battle between angels. Not angels and demons, different factions of angels. And they were calling to me, each side, telling me that if only one more would join the fight. I said, fuck off, flew higher, and flew away until I found a place that was free and clear of any and all kind of strife, and it was a dark Gothic heaven.
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all.
Okay, so I was a kid when this happened, so it could have been a dream, but to this day, I still don't think it was. But I was like I don't know, middle schooler age, still living in Michigan, and I was visiting my Aunt Lissa. And at this time, she was married to, they still call him the love of her life, I can't remember his name. And I was staying up late watching TV because they had cable and stuff like that when it went all staticky, like the TV went all staticky. I was like, weird, because I'm trying to think about it, and like and then the lamp light was flickering, and then there was weird lights coming from her and their room down the hallway, like alien lights, kind of like greenish or whatever, and like kind of flashing. And since the TV was all staticky and shit, I went to go check it out and see what was going on. And like the thing is, like, there was no noise, like there was no TV static noise, there was no noise from their bedroom, like there wasn't even like the light bulb buzzing noise that you hear. But when I got into their room, I look, and on their bed, they are both being abducted, basically. They're like levitating, like this green light is over their bed, pulling both of them up while they're sleeping. And it freaked me out so much that I like crept ran back to the living room and got under the blanket and went to sleep to because that's how I got out of things, because I'd be like, if I go to sleep, then I'll wake up and it'll be over, or I'll die. You know. So, and then I woke up the next morning and everything was fine, but I could have sworn that it wasn't a dream, you know, that I hadn't fallen asleep yet. But who knows?
Tell me about the weirdest dream you've had that you don't actually think was a dream at all. I'll go.
Okay, so I have a cat. Her name is Gypsy. For a long time, I was calling her Kitty Cat. I was trying to figure out a name for it. Like, okay, what can I name her? Just observing her personality as a cat, and you know, like, what could I possibly name her? So I kept calling her Kitty Cat. And I went to sleep one night, and she was walking, and I'm like, okay, who? This is my son. So, so I was like, okay. So I see this cat in a dream that I just got, and I'm like, oh wow, hey Kitty Cat, you know, because the cat is in my dream. And she looked me dead in my face and said, stop calling me Kitty Cat. My name is not Kitty Cat. My name is Gypsy. Mind you, all before this time, when I was calling her Kitty Cat, she would not turn to me when I said Kitty Cat or nothing. So I woke up and I said, let me see something. And I said, Gypsy. And she turned and she looked and she acknowledged that name. I'm like, that cat, that's a different type of cat. It's scary.
So for people who are not tapped into like what dreams can mean, because a lot of dreams have different meaning. Well, all dreams have different meanings. Some are more literal and some are just, you know, a message that you should pay attention to. But when it comes to dreams, so in the Haitian community, they will tell you all the time, if you dream about fish, someone's about to get pregnant. If you dream about a funeral, someone is about to get married. If you dream about a marriage, someone's about to die. If you dream of certain numbers, you can play those numbers and loteria in order to try to win, you know, and lottery and all that stuff, right? And also, if you dream of your teeth falling out, if you dream of different stuff, it means different things. And also, if you dream of like you always fighting, you're always running away, you know, all that stuff, and the waking waking world, it could mean something else. So if you're always fighting in your dreams, it could mean that you're running away from a situation in your dream that you're not facing head on. If you're dreaming of snakes can also mean new beginning, shedding of new skin, shedding of old skin and starting over. So there's so many ways. If you dream of murky water, I would definitely pay attention to that. If you dream of certain celebrities in your dreams, then possibility that you will not necessarily come across those celebrities, but how would I even say that? But you will reach a height in your life that you could possibly rub shoulders with those people, and or maybe you were watching their videos right before you fell asleep and you dream about them. That's very likely too. But dreams are very powerful and they should be paid attention to. And like I was saying about the whole show, it's on Netflix. It's called The Sandman. So he is the god of dreams. He has siblings, and his siblings, if you watch the show, you will see he has siblings of all shades and colors, honey. One of his sisters, she is a dark-skinned black woman just like myself. She is the angel of death, the most amazing character ever. I love her. That guy, he is the Sandman. So he turned into sand to disappear, to transport into a different location. But he rules the whole dreamland. And he has a brother, sister/brother. He is a very masculine man who dresses, or feminine man who dresses up like a woman and all that stuff. He be tapping in, like, right. I will tell you a little more about him, but I love him. He is desire. And then his father he's basically God. He controls the whole universe, and he's a white man. And his mother, she is the galaxy, and she is a black woman. She is deep, dark chocolate, and she got glitter all over her stuff so she could look like, she's covered in stars. She's the dark matter. She is the galaxy, dark matter, and all that stuff. And if you know about dark matter, you will know it. It made sense to me. As soon as I saw her, they didn't have to explain it. I just knew, she's dark matter. She's the dark goddess, right? And then another one, she is delirium. They have a sister. She is delirium. She's a white girl, but she has like 2 different color eyes, and she wear whatever she wants. She's very colorful. Her emotions are up and down, just like normal people. She's happy 1 second, she's upset another second. And then they have another sister. She is, how do you call this? Not grief, but it's the thing that you have to go through. What is it called? Not sorrow when somebody dies, but she's definitely one of those people that live in funk. She lives in nastiness, but that's what she is. That's how she is. She's like the god or the demon of that particular feeling. So it's all about different feelings in life, and their whole family is made up of different. And there's one, he's destiny. He's the one that keeps destiny. He carries the book. He's a black man. He carries the book, and he tells you your destiny and all that stuff. Right? So that show is really, really good. I highly recommend you watch it. But anyways, a few of the people in the show, basically when Dream was captured, I think I told you guys about this before. When Dream was captured, he was captured by this man who was basically trying to summon death. And because he said his incantation wrong, he was able to summon Dream instead. So he captured Dream thinking that he had captured his sister, Death, angel of death, but he captured him instead. But what he didn't realize was once he captured him, he basically messed up the whole ripple of, it's like a ripple effect. He messed up so many things in the waking world that he didn't think was happening when he captured Dream. So Dream is supposed to be there to control the dream world, and whenever people go to sleep, they go to that world, and he's there. They have different land, they have different gardens and all that stuff. Anyways, so when he captured Dream, a lady in the dream ended up falling asleep. She fell asleep with a lot of people, almost like a hay fever. The whole town, I don't know if that's a good reference, but the whole town was asleep, and they had this disease of staying in sleep. They weren't dead, but it's almost like they were in a coma. One of the ladies, she is a black woman. She got impregnated by Desire, and Desire is a man who is very flamboyant and very feminine. He was basically trying to upset his brother, which is the Dream King, Sandman. So he ended up impregnating a human in the dream world. And also there's another lady on there who ended up going into the dream world. She fell asleep because her husband had died. And then she ended up seeing him in the dream. Then they ended up creating their whole life. You know, she got pregnant. And when she woke up, she was actually pregnant and gave birth to the next dream king. Very, very crazy. But he wanted her to stay in the dream world with her so they can have a family, because he died so young and she really wanted to stay. But her friends convinced her not to stay, because her friend was called the vortex in the dream, because the friend was the child, the baby of the lady who got pregnant in the dream. When she finally woke up years and years and years and years later, by then she was already like old. But while she was still sleeping, she gave birth. She became pregnant in the dream and then gave birth to a child. That child became the void, which is the one that is going to basically destroy the dream world. So then when she ended up meeting that girl who is her friend, the girl ended up helping her. And then in the dream, she ended up going into the girl's dream with her husband. In that dream, she can jump into different people's dreams, different realms. She basically told the girl, hey, you cannot stay here, because the whole dream world was starting to fall apart, because the girl was not supposed to be staying in the dream. She's supposed to wake up every morning, right? You go to sleep, you dream, and then you wake up. But she was so in love with her husband that had passed away. She was trying to keep his legacy alive by basically trying to get in the dream with him and have a whole family. He built a house for her and all that stuff. He's like, yeah, stay with me, you could have a dream life and da-da-da. But she was already pregnant, and now she had to wake up and have the baby in the waking world. And when she ended up having the baby in the waking world, that baby was basically stolen by someone else who was an elf. So it's like a bunch of, or fairy, he's a fairy, but it's like a bunch of different, how do you call this, mythological creature, you know, all these things. But he ended up throwing the baby in a lake of fire. He threw the baby, well, it's not funny, but he threw the baby in the fireplace, and the baby ended up burning. The human part of the baby ended up burning, but then the baby ended up transforming, almost like a phoenix, transforming into coming out of the ashes. The baby came out and he became like a god. Within like few hours, the baby went from a child into like a grown man. It's a whole thing. But when I saw that show, it reminded me of like people's dreams and how a lot of people don't pay attention to their dreams, because a lot of times a lot of people don't dream. And the reason why you don't dream is because you're sedated with other things. Like, for example, if you smoke weed, you're not going to dream as much as you would if you didn't smoke before you go to sleep. If you also take like certain sleeping stuff, you might not be able to dream. And if you do dream, you don't remember those dreams. It's as if like you went the whole night and not dreamt. And I have experienced those things. So then this is all in my opinion. I have no research to prove that if you do smoke and or take sleeping pills or anything is going to keep you from dreaming. But based on like my experience, I do realize that whenever I do indulge, I don't dream. Or at least a lot of time I don't remember my dreams. So anyways, I do try to stay away from those things before bedtime, because I do like to tap into my dreams and see what I'm getting. But I remember one time I did had a dream, and I think I told you guys about that. This is like the brief thing about my dream. It was this man that was covered in mud. He was outside of the house, and clearly he couldn't get in, but he was holding a contract in his hand, and he was trying to get me to come outside to sign the damn contract. I mean, he was covered in those like reddish mud. You know when you see those red dirt and you know they turn into mud, it's like the same color. Reddish mud, the mud is dripping on him. It was like almost as if he was like a cartoon character or something, because you know whenever they're like covered in mud and the mud basically stays, they'll walk and drop some mud, but it just won't fall down on their body and just fall off. It just stayed on him as if it was like part of his costume. It was there, and he's going and knocking on all the doors, and I'm looking outside the window and I'm thinking of all the different witchcraft that I could do to get him to get away, all the verses that I could read to get him to get away. I wasn't scared, but I was like, why is he trying to get me to sign a contract? I'm like, I don't want to sign a contract. I'm one of those people that don't sign my name and things without reading it thoroughly.